Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Harmony. I'm a twin flame expert helping twin flames around the globe face fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Welcome to my weekly glow show. Today's topic is how do we overcome twin flame taboo? Right? And sometimes we ask ourselves, is this real? Is this true? Let alone be able to share who we are. And so what is twin flame taboo? It's being caught up in the wrap that we're not sure if we believe it. Therefore, we're not sure if we believe who we are. And then that when we do believe who we are, we have to hide who we are. And so, like, if you're still stuck in this taboo, there is no way that you can put your fullest potential into purpose and manifest the fullest vibrational, passionate level that you need to experience as a twin flame. So it's about coming out of the closet. It's about opening up and being who you truly are and not worrying about what others think, not having to hide who you are. And, here is the key in this. You need to not only be who you are, but remember what you came here to do. And that if you can't do this for you and you can't hold that light within yourself, how the hell can you expect your twin flame to do the same thing and come forth and speak their truth and stand in their empowerment and claim their identity? And how can you expect them to come out of the closet or come to you? Right? So I knew this was going to be a good topic. I can feel it already. I've been feeling this topic all week. I woke up this morning and it was just flooding out. I've had my own experiences. As you know, I teach by example. So I've had a lot of experiences this week that's came through that I got a few I'm going to share with you that's been on my end just really beautiful and good examples of how to put this together. And I woke up this morning before I could even open my eyes. Everything was colliding on an outline to share and do here and present here. So I promise you're going to want to stay for this one, because if you're truly wanting to reunite and you're truly wanting to move forward with everything that you keep feeling stuck with, this is where you're stuck because you're not being you. How can you go forward in this if you can't open up, right? If you can't be who you are. So let's play truth or dare. Okay, I have 3 truths for you and I have a dare for you. And so the truth is that in order to be at your fullest, best, greatest potential, you have to remember who you are, which means you have to stop hiding who you are. And what are you? What are we? What are twin flames? What are all of us going up in the ascension aspect and the whole world's enlightening here? Well, I am light, I am love, and I am one. Now, I did a video on this back, I don't know, at the end of, probably around August, September, something like that of last year. I'm going to put a link for you if you did not watch that series. It's a 5-part video series. I highly recommend you watch that because that's what you got to do in that process to get in alignment with a lot of these things that I've been talking about. But when I say get in alignment and I am one, what that ultimately means is that I become in harmony with self, that finds a 0-point field and harmonic balance in myself between my masculine, my feminine, my right brain, my left brain, my higher self, my lower self, my head and my heart, my, concepts of what it is I came here to do versus where I'm at, my reality. So my external space doesn't match my internal vibration. How do I make these shifts and how do I make these changes? Well, that series is really all about helping you do that. But in that truly helps you awakening to remembering who you are. That is a truth that you must do to come into full alignment in the 3D with your beloved. Okay? So the truth is, if you're hiding who you are and you're living in twin flame taboo and you are not coming out of the closet and you cannot be who you are everywhere you go and show up as a living example of this light, you're just not going to be at your fullest capacity in your fullest potential, and therefore your beloved will hold you to it until you reach that space. So instead of blaming your twin, I dare you right now to let that twin go and to face yourself and to start expressing who you are, where you go, and not hiding a piece of that. Now, number 2, second truth. There is no separation from anything, and especially I am with the one, the beloved. Because we are always connected through the golden thread, the cord that connects us to the being of our vital source, of our energetic spark of who it is we came here to be, because I am light means I am energy, and I came from that energy, that light, and return to that light, but I'm corded with the other half of my soul that sparked and that chose this path with me to parallel in and out of lives, to learn lessons, to share these experiences, and to reunite as one. And at the whole time, it's just like the umbilical cord to the baby, in the placenta of the mother. It's always connected. It's nutrients. It's how we're fed. It's how we exchange this information. And it's done through all the chakra system, which is the energetic cords and attachments of always being together. So the thing you've got to do is feel and believe there is no separation. And there is no separation with finances, fun, happiness. None of it, everything that you look at as outside of you is truly already inside of you when you activate it. So you have to activate your passion, your light, your spark, and create the fire within that puts that into action. So you're not only just you're able to work it, own it. So you have to own it before you can work it, which working is putting into action. But you have to believe it first. You have to find it, which really means you create it. So it's about finding ourselves, but really means creating ourselves. Then we have to own that before we can work that and put it into motion. And so when people talk about and the question comes up through the cutting cords, and can I cut cords, and can I cut cords to the past? Ultimately, you can never cut your twin off through the golden thread, because you just can't. We're just not designed to do that. It won't happen. So you can choose to surrender to this ride, which is the best thing to do, which is using the mirror reflection that I'm going to share some examples with you here in a minute. But what you can you can't cut cords. You can cut ties to the past and all the present karmic patterns that still exist, which means when we say letting go of our twin, it really means letting go of the old patterns, the old ways, and we're breaking the mold the way we used to be. And we're breaking our internal mold of being that fixer and the rescuer and the one that's been abandoned and full of codependency and being in a space of not feeling good enough. We're breaking those cords. We're clearing those contracts. And then what we're doing in that process is we're breaking apart the mold of the way you've been with your twin, so you can become your best version of you and reharmonize yourself, or harmonize yourself. And the cog of the wheel harmonize your beloved. Then you do reharmony together as you create role reversals together, and you shift. Say I'm going to give you an example. If you've been friends and you come apart, you're not going to go back as friends. So there has to be all these things that take place individually that happens in what is considered the separation. And I will also tell you, you should, if you've not watched, I'll put a link as well, Surrender to the Silence, a video about there's no separation that I did also back somewhere around July, August of last year. And that video is very powerful message in that. So I'm going to leave that information for there, but do follow up with that. If you've not seen these videos I'm recommending, I really highly suggest, and if you're not where you want to be, you need to follow up on these. And if you did do it back then and it's coming back around now, It means you might get something out of it again. To do it again, you might get something new, better, bigger, or different that you didn't catch the first time. It's time to revisit that. So we're breaking out the old molds. We're creating role reversals of, like me as a feminine counterpart here has been, the divine masculine, heavier, prominent divine masculine, and having just feeling fully shifted into the surrender of goddess and taking a long time to really like embody what I would consider a goddess. And I've been being shown signs that that is a true, real fact now in the physical 3D. And I'm going to share some things with you as to how I also know that to be my truth, because it's going to actually take everything I'm talking about here and bring it into one example of everything we're saying here being truth. And again, that's how I live this, to walk this walk, to talk the talk, so I can come here and share with you a message that divine wants you to know. And that's why divine spoke to me and was very clear on the concept and the idea. This is urgent. This message needs out there. This is the block. This is where people are being stuck. Okay? Come out of the closet. No more twin flame taboo. We came here to represent who we are and to share a message as a group collectively. And why should you be ashamed of that? Why should you have to hide that? Be proud of that, because when you become the best version of you and you reach the warrior and the goddess aspect, you are going to feel definitely like a new person, but you're going to be loving life. And that's what we came here to experience. We came here to be love, have love, and share love from, the most divine high. And so, all right, so I want to see, we kind of like went around the block there. I want to see where I need to pick back up on, because what we're talking about here on this number 2 truth is there is no separation. And for you to claim that you are in alignment with all that is, and that for you to get in alignment with all that is. And to get in alignment with all it is going back to the number 1 of remembering who you are and identifying the concept and the embodying the idea that I am light, I am love, I am one with self, source, purpose, and beloved. And then that helps you align with all that is, which when I say, there's no separation from anything, as I mentioned, it's not just your beloved. It's definitely, it could be anything from finances to, a house, a job, your mission, your purpose that you came here to implement. And I do have purpose and mission videos. In fact, that Return to Oneness has, I discuss the difference in like a purpose and a mission and some things like that. That is really good information in that video that you should definitely check out in that. But what I want to talk about now in this number 2 truth about there is no separation is the mere reflection. And owning your own responsibility of that reflection from the reflection of your twin pointing back to you. And to remember that it's always duality and it's always opposite, it's always contrast, but in the reverse role, and or it can be in like the mirror image of but being in the mirror image, sometimes it's in that reverse. So if you're looking at me, this is my right, but it'd be your left, right? So like those kinds of things happen in the contrast of the dark and the light. So like, for instance, if you're coming into your light and your best version of you, that takes and forces your twin and your beloved into the deepest shadow of themselves so that they can get their own wake up. When you start to hit spaces of the dark, deep shadows, technically what you're doing is you're helping them clear their crap, and that's giving them light. And so when you think you're going backwards and repeating patterns, most of the time it's because you're taking on parts of this energy that you're clearing for the dynamic of your twin flame dynamic if you've went through the work and done some clearing. And if you feel like it just keeps repeating, then therefore you got to set that boundary and realizing the distinction between what you're carrying and that if it's something you've taken on that you're not giving back to, even on a 5th dimensional energetic space, giving back to that twin and let them carry their own shit. Like you need them to be the one to come to you and assist you. You don't need to be doing all the work anymore, but then you blame them for all this. But then you've done it because you've been the fixer the whole time and you've been the one that needed to be in control the whole time. and you haven't given them the space to come in and be a driver because you won't give up the driver role and be the passenger. So now you've put them in this repeated pattern of damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? And so this is where I'm saying taking responsibility, surrender the crap, and focus on you. And as intense as that might be in the physical realm, 75% of the battle is acknowledging and just consciously making the claim of what I'm telling you. And then it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. It's your concept and your perception of the label. It's your concept and your perception of hanging on to the past because you haven't let the past go, or the old patterns or the old ways. And, you know, the fear of, can I trust him? Will we go back together in the other way, like the way we used to be if they were to come back? All right. Well, here's the thing. I can promise you when they come back, it won't go back together the way it was, or it won't align. So what you have to do in this is you got to, like, people to let go, find your light. So it forces them into the greatest amount of their darkness. And we don't always want to do that because we're unconditional. We hate to see them suffer, but that's where we can't hold and carry that part of the contract that they chose up to experience for themselves. So you have to let go so that you can let go. And in doing so, what it discovers within yourself is what you don't want. You can see, I don't want that, okay? But instead of focusing on I don't want that, what it does is it lets you see, I don't want that. So, well, what do you want? Okay, I would want this. So when you let go and you become what you need to do for yourself, and you can create what you want out of them within you, they then become everything that you wanted to begin with, because right now they're only staying in a space of where you see them to begin with. I'm going to say it again. It's very deep. You have to create within yourself what you want and what you even expect and or want out of them. And when you do that within yourself, they become what you want. And to give you even a better example would be like, you don't like the fact there's a one-word text back. There's no communication. Get this all the time. You don't like the fact that they've blocked you on a social media. You don't like the fact that they're not calling you. You don't like the fact that, like, when they do and they seem like they're involved or invested, that they come in, but yet they're telling you that they need to take care of their own life and they need to step away to do that. And that's going to take time. And you realize, even consciously know you have to surrender it, but then it tests your truth, as in, or your trust, as in, is this going to just keep going and going and going back and forth? How much longer? You know, okay, you don't want any of those things, right? Well, let go and quit following them and chasing that aspect. What you seek seeks you. Everything you want is already inside of you. And so what you need to do is follow your light, your mission, your passion, what drives you and makes you love things, what excites you, what lifts you up, and create enough boundaries and respect for yourself that you desire to have someone be the warrior that climbs up the tree after you and will dance circles around you, helping you and assisting you. And honestly, without even having to ask. I had this happen yesterday. I'm going to share with you. I had things happen that when you're in that space, you don't have to ask. Just like the codependency, if you don't have to say a word, because there's a fine line of understanding that codependency in an aspect. Well, I thought I'm letting go. I'm doing this thing. I'm focusing on myself. And so that means I have to put up the wall. So there's the difference in wall and boundary. I mean, you think you got to shift away from that. And as you shift away, what it is you tend to block energetically. The codependency is still there in some level. So you may not be reaching out. You may not be calling. You may be focused, putting some effort on other areas. But if you're seeking and you still feel, it's the feeling inside of you. You feel that, you're void. You feel that you have and there's a difference in clingy and connectivity, and then also having been a strong person and now desiring some assistance. All right, that's where people get confused in this stuff because things are fine line. Nothing is really black and white in this. It's all gray, and it can all be right at any given moment, at any given time, in any given space, in any given circumstance. And you might be moving one way and you're shown to go this way, and all of a sudden the energy flipped and now you're shown to go the other way. And hell yeah, it gets confusing. Of course. That's why we got to surrender to the flow, and we can't hold on to anything, and we need to move through this from a space of grace and not hanging on to these details and just showing up in the concept and the idea that I'm open and willing to expand to the best version of me and align with my destiny. And at the end of that does mean a 3D relationship, because sometimes people have been doing this work and they have the feeling, I hear this all the time, like maybe I didn't even sign up for it. Maybe I chose not to have this. Well, okay, what do you desire? Because you are the co-creator, and even though there is free will, it's how you get there, you know, and you get to choose if you go left or right. Bottom line is you did already sign up for it. But I can promise you, if you're going through this hell, and the contrast means heaven. That's the duality. So if you're in hell, you have heaven coming. If you've been in heaven and you find yourself bouncing back to hell, you're just going to a higher heaven. And teaching people here to, is what I do, is to help them live their highest happy at the end of the day. And so basically in this mirror reflection, you have to allow their shadow to teach you, allow them to carry their own crap, so they can learn to stand alone, so they can learn that they don't necessarily like their own crap, so that they can find themselves. But at the end of the day, them finding themselves is ultimately means you're creating yourself. So as they find themselves, you're creating yourself. And until you put that passion into that purpose, and you're going to stay stuck. And the other piece of this is if you do not follow these truths of remembering who you are and not hiding that, and you don't let go of this concept and the idea of there is separation, because there is no separation. And number 3, you must be able to speak this truth before you're going to get into reunion. Because otherwise you're not living an expression of your fullest truth. And you have to do that as a mastery to come into union of self and reunion with your beloved. So I encourage you to get over the twin flame taboo, and to get on with purpose and passion and meaning and love and excitement, and to let love live and sparkle along the way. I have to share with you my purse. This is like a living expression. This is my purse. And I was at a meeting yesterday, and everyone is just like, even like I went to the stores, everywhere I go, oh my God, your purse. So, this is like a conversation piece in itself, but I'm a walking sparkle, like, so to speak. So I'm living out what I love and loving what I live, and learning to express my truth in the process of that. So I feel like, I want to recap those 3 truths, and then I'm going to share with you kind of like some examples of like what I've been seeing in that. And then, as I said, let's play truth or dare. So I'm going to have a dare for you at the end. So the truths are that you have to remember who you are. You have to be able to know that there is no separation. And you have to speak your truth before you're going to reunite. All right? So now, I said to stop hiding who you are and to be able to express, like who you are. So let me just, like I said, give you an example of this. So, for instance, I went to a meeting yesterday of a group of women connecting and promoting everyone. And, again, twin flame taboo. Like, here I'm coming in. Of course, most people have never heard of a twin flame, and I'm coming into a local event. I haven't done a lot of local events lately because nothing was really aligning at the time, nor was it maybe my time, but now I was shown divine timing. I found kind of my home. I'm loving this group, and the majority of them I've spent 20 years marketing with. But the ones that I really know that's really now really connecting the spiritual realm, it's coming together, kind of having the spiritual aspect where spirituality meets business and merging that together to empower women and that sort of thing. And so in this process, of course you have to like share with like who you are, what you do. I mean, it's just a typical thing. And, even before this, if I would be out and people ask me, of course, what do you do? What do you do? Like, so I wanted to share with you kind of how I like explain to people what I do so that, when you come across these situations and circumstances, you might be able to give you an idea of how to express the idea and the concept of a twin flame. So you don't have to think that it's just so taboo, and that you can like be able to share yourself with people, to be able to live your light, let your light shine. So like kind of like what I talk about with people as I say, well, I'm a twin flame expert. I do help people around the globe face their fears and they find freedom so that they can glow forward a fire and connecting to the greatest potential of themselves. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if we want the ultimate relationship, it starts with us. And a twin flame journey is basically a journey that brings out the best version of who we are, and it's a personal mastery journey. And basically, for myself, I lived a real life Da Vinci Code. And in that Da Vinci Code, twin flames I understood to be a biblical concept. And so I realized that a lot of the dark night of soul, a lot of the depths of like a lot of things I was going through that were very challenging was clearing karma. And that it took basically my other half of what most people think that is their soulmate, but this is literally the other half that you incarnated with in order to create an agreement of the power of two is greater than one. And as I went through this Da Vinci Code, and I was awakening to this whole twin flame experience, what I uncovered is that it was about connecting to not only your highest self, but your highest purpose, the highest beloved of this lifetime. In order we're all waking up consciously as a planet. We're all wanting more meaning, and we're wanting more purpose and more fulfillment. And so that means that we want more divine love in our relationships. And to find that, it starts with self-love. And so collectively, we're all just trying to shift out of old habits and shift into the new realms of more enlightenment and that more fulfilling role. And so, in a nutshell, that's kind of what I explained as a twin flame journey. And, people just are like sponges, and like they are just like, oh, like so fascinated. Like people like want this information is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, we think that, oh, that's so taboo, we're going to stand alone. Everywhere I show up in this sparkle that I'm leaving, I run into trails of people that it's divine appointment that I crossed with them because they needed just that message. And for me, they're giving me confirmation of the message and even personal experiences out of that. And so why hide that? That's why I'm trying to tell you this is a beautiful experience if you allow it and you let it be and you let love live. If you believe it's a taboo and that it's voodoo doo and that it's nothing but a curse and you want to hide that from people because nobody, understands what it is, then you're not complying with who you are. You just aren't. And if you want that relationship, you got to be who you are. And why hide it? Why hide it? And I get it, because coming out as a twin flame journey wasn't so bad for me. I mean, naturally, when I wrote Twin Flame Codebreaker, that evolved and opened up a side of me as I was doing it that I had no idea what I was expressing, or did I plan it? It just happened, and I knew that I needed to open up. But when I started even that book, I had no clue that like from a twin flame journey that I would share all those things. And oh yeah, it's going around the world, like nobody's going to know me anyway kind of thing, And then to realize, what I tell my local, this local community is now from this global perspective that I've been working for a while, a few years. Like now it's time to anchor that unconditional love vibration into our heartland of the heart chakra of the nation. And I'm bringing that energy back home to anchor it in. And do you know, I had somebody say to me, oh my God, you need to be one of the people that gets elected in this book so that they can, share this information with others. And everybody's waking up consciously. And, in this meeting, I've had people say to me like, oh my God, she speaks my language. And, everybody's learning this new earth heart language is what I call it. And, people wanted their sponges. So don't hide who you are. And I got to tell you too, this is just coming out. So like, I has been, asked to, my book is going to be showcased in New York coming up at the end of May and the beginning of June. And it's been like, holy cow, like I didn't do anything to make this happen. It was the divine timing that set it up, which is shifting a lot of divine timing for a lot of other aspects of this with me. But what I got to tell you is, like, in this process of working with this company, this publishing company that has sought out this, there was a glitch that sent me to the manager that I didn't even be asked to send to the manager, for the manager to get my information and say, holy cow, I'm a twin, and this information needs out there, and that this information, knowing it's taboo, she goes to her director team and says, I understand this genre. I get this information. This knowledge needs out there. And like, she's like, they were looking it up, and like, she was, and I personally want to see this message in the world. And I can't even begin to tell you something that she made happen that like was a gift to me that I had no clue, nor did I ask for. But it's like this message just once heard. And my book was like that when it came out. It has its own entity, and I knew it's going where it's going and what it's doing. But it's so magical to be in this space now, and I'm just loving life, and I'm glowing, and I'm taking the glow and I'm glowing forward. And if I'm going to tell you to do it, I'm out there doing the same thing. And I might be living the same hell too, but I'm also using the same exercises, steps, tools that I teach you to practice in order to find your light and your greatest light and living your greatest potential. So in addition to this, I leave the meeting and I go to a facial that I was treating myself to. And, like I get this whole facial, and, I know that it's a treat, and it's been a while since I've done one, and I like want to like start to do more of the rewards and things like that. So it's been a thing on my list to add to my regimen. And normally, like, I took my makeup bag and I had to stop to make for a phone earpiece on my way home. And I thought, I never go in a store without makeup. I don't. And I had all my makeup off. In fact, my mascara was rubbed on my eyes and like probably looked like I'd been crying. And I go into a store thinking I'm going to just pop in, grab the trade out because the piece wasn't working. I had a warranty on it, and I'd done it before where I just grab it, trade it, out the door I go, right? No, wrong answer. So it became a deal. So I go up to the customer service. Great guy says, oh, let me handle all this for you. You bring me what you need. I'm going to have this, and this done. And I was kind of out there in La La Land because I'd had this facial and I still wasn't even planted on the ground just because I felt like all this energy was going. And next thing you know, and I'm going to look for the piece, and I'm in a wrong aisle for something totally different. And I was all of a sudden felt so spaced out that I probably could barely even tell you my name. And that's not even normally like me. It's like all these things were taken out for me. So all these things were just like kind of like taking and messing up and made me feel like I was being like a ditzy blonde is what you hear, And so, and there's nothing wrong against that. So I don't mean any judgment by that, but you know how we hear people putting that stigma on that. Well, I go to look for this piece, and I was in the wrong aisle. And so the guy was helping me. And so what he was trying to say, I knew what I wanted, but he had no clue what I was asking. And we weren't on the same page, and he had a confrontational person. So we had a little bit of like a, standoffish like energy, like coming into that, thinking I was going to be one of those customers, and then like, you know, finding out that like it didn't have in stock once we discovered, and I was in the wrong aisle, the wrong product, and what I needed. Take me to the right place. They don't have it. Goes up, looks for it. Doesn't even think they're getting in stock again. So the point being was, now, like in that process, like we got to talk longer, and he's like, he was saying something. I go, well, I know what I need. I just didn't know how to say it. And he said something. And so it's turned back to me was, yep, the customer's always right? Like my grandpa, I think my grandfather always used to say like that, you know, if the customer's right, you're either right or wrong unless you got a choice. And I go, well, you always have a choice. And he didn't know what to say because it hit him. We do. We have choices. We always get the choice. And as I said that, there's a screen on the computer thing, on a cash register thing on the other side that was flashing up this big thing that said, what do you choose? And I told him, I go, oh my God, see? And he's like, what? And I go, come here. And I showed him, like what we were just saying was, what do you choose? It was one of my codes and signs showing up right there. Then his computer was freezing, and he looked at me and he said, he goes, I think your aura is messing with my computer. I go, happens all the time. Everywhere I go, things will fry or melt down or whatever. And so, which by the way, I had a meltdown in the middle of this, so I don't know if there's going to be a glitch in one of the videos, but I completely froze. It's never happened. This froze as I was recording this 1 second ago. So I don't know if there's going to be a funny glitch in that or not. But so anyway, he's basically at that moment then telling me, like, he makes the comment, it was kind of funny. He said, well, I didn't see you wiggle your nose, you know, like Bewitched. Like, I made all that stuff happen with, like, you know, you get to choose and all this stuff. And I go, well, I'm so good that I wiggled my nose and you didn't even have to see it. And it still happened. And so he thought that was really funny. Next thing you know, he's having like opening up, and he's calling me behind the counter, and he's becoming this masculine man to rescue me for this part and to make sure I could get what I needed and to deliver. And like, well, tell you what, like what I would recommend. Here's another product that I would recommend. And he goes and shows me. And it's like, about $30, $50 more than the one that I originally had that was trading in. And I'm like, well, and I had questions. He goes, hold on. So he takes me to a guy that owns one of them in the back of their place. And then next thing you know, I'm connected with the customer service guy, the guy from the back. And I've got all these guys that are around trying to like rescue me, give me everything I needed or wanted as that dame and damsel in distress kind of thing, programming this for me. Didn't even ask for this information. You know, next thing you know, like, you know, the one is, they're at Winning Cards, and they're realizing that I mentioned that, you know, I'm getting ready for this book tour, and then they want information. So I give them these cards I had taken to the meeting that I went to. And then the one, he's younger, he's like, oh my God, like you deal with chakras. And like, oh my gosh. And he's like, I'm telling you, this divine masculine is waking up. So they started understanding that this was energy and a divine intervention, and that it was more, they totally got. They even said it's more than what is happening here in this plane. And it's no accident that this didn't work or this did that or you showed up here today. I mean, they were getting that. They wanted more information on me. They wanted more of a connection. They wanted to connect to more of what I did. And one of them, I am wanting to make a video, like an intro video for my videos. I put it out to the universe when it's time, because I was searching, it wasn't working. When it's time, send me who you want. This guy's a videographer, has his own YouTube channel here. That's going to be where, and we've already sent messages. He's going to be doing my intro video for my videos for you guys. And like, this is no joke. These are divine masculine waking up like sponges, learning about this ascension and consciousness. And if I wasn't living my freaking truth and I was hiding who I was, then I wouldn't be sharing the sparkle and spreading the glow. People, this is what I'm talking about here. So stop hiding who you are. It's going to bring more into your life. It was such a beautiful experience. And I left there, we all hugged. There were hugs and even more than one hug. And it's like, oh my God, you just don't get this from a customer every day. And these workers were just like, not only were they absorbing the energy, they were giving the energy, they were feeling it. And I told the one guy, I said, and they were wanting to get my book and all kinds of stuff. I said, well, I'm just going to warn you, like I do everyone else. If you've crossed my path, shift happens. That means shit in your life starts moving around, and it means it's time and you were ready, and that was the process. So buckle up, because if you're going to read this book, things are going to start changing in your life and you're going to see it. He goes, it's already happened just by you being here today. That's some powerful stuff, people. So I'm asking you to do the same. So I'm giving you the dare now. I'm daring you to let love live and to quit living in taboo. Become your best version by being who you are where you go. And so I'm going to send you the dare with that the next time you're out and about like that, to be proud of being a twin. And I'm not saying you have to go flaunt that. I didn't do a thing that meant I had to go there with the intention of saying any of that. It was just being who I was as it unfolded. And I'm asking you to be proud of it and let that light shine and be who you are, and don't hide your sparkle. And then the next time somebody tells you that you need to cut ties with your beloved, which is coming from a friend of mine that ended up being definitely a twin flame in our business journey over the last few years, met with her, and you know who you are because I know you'll be watching this at the meeting. So, you know, she had told me last time that things were stood in her dynamic, and she realized it was no accident. She ran into me that day because she hadn't been to this meeting in a long time, and she knew something was bringing her. And I told her, buckle up, things are about to change. This time she told me within 1 week, things were just massively exploding, and things had turned all the way upside down and went into darkness and cutting off and separation and all kinds of stuff that wasn't even there to begin with. So, and being told to cut certain ties and trying to understand the confusion of that, and trying, you listen to these outside forces, but yet be who you are, and it gets freaking confusing. So the next time someone tells you to cut ties, I would, encourage you to explain what I explained about the thread and about what they're there to teach you. And it really has nothing to do with them. It's the mere reflection of them showing you what you need to do. So when it comes to you, I am telling you to stop hiding who you are, and I dare you to do this. When it comes to my friend, I double dog dare you, girl. If you're a client, triple dog dare. Come out of the closet, be who you are, people. It's time to let love live. And if you want the ultimate relationship, you have to find it by finding who you are, creating your greatest potential, aligning with divine love, and experiencing it from the most high place. To be love, have love, and to share the love. Let your beloved find themselves so you can create who you came here to be. And so it is. I feel complete. Be sure to check out the ways to glow forward with me below. Make sure to like, comment, share the shine. And may you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste.